Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here, and today we'll be controlling a team of 3 heroes locked in a battle for supremacy. Radiant Offline Battle Arena is a card game for 2 players, and it's inspired by the multiplayer online battle arena genre of video games, and it's published by Heel Turn Games. With that in mind, it brings the team building, drafting features, strategic positioning, and player skills of a multiplayer online battle arena to the tabletop for players to challenge themselves with. Now, it features fast-paced, tactically challenging gameplay and plays in about 30 minutes. Now, it's on Kickstarter right now, so I'm going to show you how the game works, and then I'll see you on the other side. Now there's 2 different ways to play the game. You can set up as a deck construction where you construct your own deck, or you could play in a drafting method. I'll go over these in more detail later. These are deities. Each player will get one of these, and they'll actually start face down, and they'll get revealed at a certain point throughout the game. And it's important because if you can KO or banish your opponent's deity, that's one of the main ways you win the game. Now each of these will have an attack value, a defense value, their health, and some text that will do certain things. Each player is also going to get 3 heroes. Now here's just 6 of the possible ones that you can select from, and each of these heroes also have an attack, a defense, a health, but they also have a power up where you'll be gaining power as a currency in the game, and you'll be able to flip those over and get a more powerful version of that hero. So here's 6 of them. Now each of these heroes come with their own 10-card skill deck. So here's 6 of them now. Let's show you some more. And here are 6 more, and again each player is going to get a total of 3 heroes, and then also going to get the skill cards that correspond with those heroes. So let's take a look at maybe what a deck might look like that comes with one of these heroes. And so here the hero brand will come with these 10 cards. Now there's 4 different unique cards, and 3 of them they have 3 each. And these cards will have some attack and some defense, and they'll do certain things depending on what those cards say. So each hero comes with 10 of these, and since you have 3 heroes, you'll actually have 30 cards in total. And you'll take all those 30 cards and you'll shuffle them into one big deck. So for example, if my 3 heroes were Bran, Eleanor, and Viola, I would get the 10-card deck that corresponds with that specific hero, so the other player, once you know the game well, if they know which heroes you have, they know which cards are in that deck. But again, these would all be shuffled up. So in setting up, I have my 3 heroes here. I have all 30 cards that came from each of their 10-card decks shuffled here. There's 3 items that we'll talk about later, and this is my face-down deity. You're also going to get 3 shrines on the Divine Conduit side here, and these are going to be places that we're trying to defend. Our opponent will also have 3 shrines of their own, and these also have an attack and a health value as well, because this is going to help you further your advancing in the game. It's going to give you power if you destroy them, so you're going to try to defend yours and destroy the other players. Now when finishing the setup, each player is going to alternate placing a hero in the same location as one of their 3 shrines. There's left, center, and right. Think of these as lanes. Now here, I have 1 hero at each, so does the opponent on theirs, but you could have multiple heroes in one lane and have not one here. Now, this lane is adjacent to this lane, and this lane is adjacent to this lane, but these 2 are not adjacent to each other. So in this case, both players have 1 hero at each of their lanes in front of each of their shrines. Now the flow of the game is each player takes a turn and it goes back and forth alternating, and each player's turn goes through a number of phases, but the main phase is the action phase. Now during the action phase, you're going to get a certain amount of action points. The first player of the game will get 2 action points. Every time after that, each player will get 3 total action points to use. So I'm going to go over the different options you have for actions. Each of these cost 1 action. You can move a hero to an adjacent lane. So here we have this. We moved here. If I want to move this hero over here, it would cost 2 actions, 1 for each lane that it moved into. And now these 2 heroes are together in this middle lane. Now these 2 heroes could now, for 1 action, commit an attack. And they could attack either a hero or heroes in this lane, or even the shrine right there. So we could do that. Let's commit these. This is going to be attack. We put them sideways like this, and we would now say what we are committing attacking to. Are we attacking the hero or the shrine? So let's say they are attacking the shrine. We're going to show you just a very basic example how things will go. These 2 heroes have a total, this one has 2 attack and 2 attack. So what happens is they'll attack this. Now this has 5 health. And so now with the 2 attacks, they've done 4 damage. So this one only has 1 left, and you can track this with tokens or a die of how much health a card has left. However, simultaneously, this will also attack these two. Now, this one doesn't have any armor, so this went from 6 to 4, and then this one has 1 armor, so this one would go from 7 to 6, and you would, again, use dice or tokens to show how much health you have left. However, let's say this was completely destroyed. It would flip over, and this is Ancient Wisdom, and it would have an effect that would trigger when it gets destroyed. This one says draw a card, so they draw a card into their hand. Now each player is going to start with 5 of these skill cards in their hand at the beginning of the game. Now another thing you could spend your action points on is to recover. So you could basically recover one of your heroes in that spot, and this essentially costs 1 action point to do so. And remember that normal turns will get you 3 action points. The first turn of the game gets 2. And after all that, there's some other things you can do that we'll go over later, but one of the things you'll do is go to a draw step where you'll draw 1 card off the top of your deck into your hand, and you can never have more than 7 cards in your hand at any given time. So let's say on this player's turn, they want to attack right here to Bran. Now Bran is committed, and this is important because if you attack a committed hero, their attack value essentially is 0 since they're already committed. So this player wants to attack them because simultaneously he won't be able to attack him because he's already committed. So this player is going to commit and attack this. Now, this player has 2 heroes in this same lane here. Both of these are right here. Now, if they want to, if they have an uncommitted hero here, they can block, which means that this hero needs to commit, and it's going to defend now for this hero. Now, if you're fighting hero versus hero like we are here and not against a shrine, you go to a clash phase here, where, first of all, this player will play a card. They have the option of playing a card to clash, and then this player does too. They play it face down, and then they flip them face up. I'm going to put this here so we can actually read this a little bit easier, and we'll put this one just like this. And so what we have here is this is a clash card. It has to say clash on it, and it tells you what skill card this comes from. So this says, if this hero is attacking, deal 2 stun to all enemy heroes at this location who are not participating in this combat. Well, this player was blocking this player, so Bran would actually take 2 stun, which essentially is damage, but a stun can never reduce anyone below a 1. So that would happen, and then this would resolve. This is for Eleanor, who's here, and this says clash. If this hero is blocking, which this hero was doing, you may recover them after this combat ends. So combat's going to happen. You're going to add up the attack value. So this is 3 plus 2 is 5. This is 4 plus 2 is 6. And you'll do that sort of damage. As I sort of showed you with the shrine, the damage still works the same way. But after that, after you take care of all that damage, this card is going to have this player basically recover like that. And then this card will go back in this player's discard pile. Now, if one of your heroes ever runs out of health, they are KO'd, and they go just next to your deck there. They're out of the game for now. Now, knocking out a hero is important because it gets you 2 power. We also mentioned that when you're able to destroy a shrine, you get 1 power. Those are the 2 main ways you get power. The final way to gain power is to control a hero with the Evoker trait. Here you can see one of the heroes highlighted that has that trait. Now, if you control at least one of these heroes at the start of your turn, you gain 1 power. And what power is used to do, and I'm just flipping this over to show you here, this shows you how much power you need to spend as currency in order to flip this and level up this character. So if you had destroyed a shrine and KO'd one of their heroes, you could spend that 3 to flip this over. Now that's gone, it's leveled up. Now this was a 406, and now it's a 407, and they have a new ability where it has +3 defense when attacking an enemy hero. So you can level up your heroes like that. Now, when a hero's knocked out, you can get them back in. There's 2 different ways to do that. Number 1, you have a buyback available. You can spend 5 power during your revive step, which is sort of towards the end of your turn, and you can revive a single hero that's knocked out, and then you flip this over to make sure that you cannot use this again. It's a 1 per game use. And you can bring them back into any location that you'd like. However, if you had multiple heroes knocked out and none of them were knocked out this turn, you can sacrifice one of your shrines to bring all of your knocked out heroes, again, none of them that were knocked out this round, back in, and they can go to any location that you want. And as we're talking about destroying these shrines, there is 2 ways to bring your face down deity into play. Now remember, if your deity gets knocked out, you lose the game. One of them is if all 3 of these shrines have been destroyed, well, that's when this deity can come into play. That's one major way that that happens. Now, when this happens, you can place this face up into any location. However, when you do so, one of your heroes, whether they're in a location or knocked out, must be completely banished from the game, meaning they can never come back into it. Then you would activate the manifestation text on your deity. In this case, it just says draw 3 cards, but some of them are more complicated than that. Now the other way to bring these in is if this deity is still not flipped over, you can take a manifest action which costs 1 action point to essentially do the same thing, bring it in, flip it over, and banish one of your heroes. Now these deities are similar to heroes, they act just like them, except they typically have better stats. Now each player will also have 3 green item cards. They're going to be face down, they can look at them anytime throughout the game, and these are going to be bought with power as well after your actions have all been used towards the end of your turn. And these cost a certain amount of power, and again, power you get 2 for knocking out an opponent's hero or 1 for destroying a shrine, and they do different things. There's armor, weapons, and artifacts, and some of them add defense, add 1 health, attack, health and attack, and they do different things depending on what the item is. Now when you do buy one, you simply can attach it to one of the heroes, like this, to show you what they have there, and you can only have 1 item for each hero. If you put another item there, this one would get discarded out. And so turns go back and forth alternating until one player has either had their deity knocked out, they lose, or if they need to draw a card and there's no cards left in their deck, they lose. Now as I mentioned at the beginning, you can play with a pre-constructed deck where each player just picks the 3 heroes and the deity they like and all of the skill cards that go with those heroes, or you can play in an advanced drafting method. Now this drafting method, you can choose any one of the heroes first. Player A will pick a hero and take all the cards of that hero, and then player B will take 2 heroes, and then player A will take 2 heroes, and then player B will take their last hero. And of course the skill cards for those heroes go with it as well. But you can also do a very advanced game where after the first hero is drafted by each player will then be able to ban a hero to try to stop combinations that you don't want that player to have. And then the players will secretly select a deity and 3 items from their own pool. Well, there you have Radiant Offline Battle Arena, and as I've shown in the interview, it features resource management, and you have almost complete knowledge of what your opponent is playing, which allows the player the opportunity to maximize the talent of outplaying your opponent. Now it also allows you to play the game in multiple different formats using a draft or a pre-constructed decks. Now if you'd like to see the final art and components and all of the different pledge levels, you can click the link below me in the description of this video and it will take you directly to the Kickstarter project page, and I'm sure the fine folks at Heel Turn Games would love your support.